Good day and welcome to the Sage One Advisor Pre-Assessment Brief. I would like to thank you for taking time out to view this session. The pre-assessment brief is made up of 2 sessions. I'm going to be going through session 2 today. The topics that will be discussed is VAT, budgets, account reporting groups, basic reporting including the sales by item report, the profit and loss report, as well as the budget report. And then we'll be going through the Accountants Edition and how to go about adding Accountants Edition users and blocking permissions. I'm going to begin by logging into my Sage One Accounting Company. We set up our VAT settings under the Company Settings option and VAT Settings. Within the Company Settings window, under VAT Settings, you have the choice to select a VAT system, enter VAT details, and even add other VAT types. We do have a list of VAT types available for you. You can easily add, delete if no processing has been processed to that VAT type, alternatively add other VAT types. What is extremely important in initial setup is to ensure that your VAT number has been added in the following window. Simply because the VAT number needs to appear on all tax invoices in order for them to be official. If your VAT details are all not set up in the following window, that is absolutely fine, simply because a wizard will appear prior to you closing any VAT periods in Sage One to ensure that your VAT details have been set up correctly. Add your VAT number, save your changes, under your Reports menu, VAT, the following wizard will always appear for the first time in every company. Alternatively, if you wish to reset up your VAT, you can always return to the VAT Returns and Reports Setup wizard. In the following wizard, when selecting Next, you would be prompted to enter a last VAT period and date, submission date, as well as frequency. If in my example I were to be reporting VAT January and February to report in March, my VAT period and date would be end of February. Sage One will also allow you to go as far back as you need to. And my submission date would be end March. Immaterial of whether I choose the 20th, the 25th, or end of the month for your submission date, it does not affect anything in the system, as Sage One needs manual closures of VAT. The following date with regards to submission will just populate a warning to allow you to be reminded that VAT needs to be closed in a particular company. Your VAT reporting frequency in this example would be 2, simply because I am reporting VAT for January and February being 2 periods. If I were in an environment that only reported VAT twice a year, that would mean my VAT reporting frequency would be 6, simply because I'm reporting VAT twice a year. When selecting Next, a breakdown of the setup that you have just selected will then be included. And once you are satisfied, select the Finished menu and you would then be introduced to the VAT Returns and Reports screen. Just to give you a brief breakdown of the following window, we have our previous and next VAT periods with regards to setup that you have just included. Under your Reports menu, we have a list of all your VAT reports to assist you to be able to report VAT efficiently. Under your Transactions option, we have the VAT Adjustments option as well as the VAT Payments and Refunds. You have the choice to close your VAT periods, reopen any VAT periods that may have been closed previously, and you have the choice of starting over. Let's begin with reporting VAT for the first time. Step 1 would be under your Reports menu, we have the VAT 201 calculation report. In the VAT 201 calculation report, only for the first time would you need to set up VAT allocations. These VAT allocations allows you to be able to select different VAT types in Sage 1 to be reported against a particular VAT code on your VAT 201 calculation report. The following setup will differ from business to business and therefore needs to be set up independently. Once you have set up your VAT allocations, the following setup never needs to be done ever again unless the VAT structure of that particular business has changed. When viewing the VAT report, simply select to view the VAT report, and a reflection based on tax invoices and supplier invoices and cash book entries will automatically be appearing against your VAT 201 calculation report. The following report is a breakdown as to how you can report over to your authority. Please remember the following form cannot be printed, alternatively submitted as it stands, and official documentation would need to be required. Once you are satisfied with what the VAT 201 calculation report has to offer you in Sage 1, you can return to the VAT returns and reports screen and select to close your VAT period. When closing your VAT period, select the Close VAT Period option. The Open VAT Period will drop to the bottom of your screen, and Sage 1 will automatically open the next VAT period based on the setup that you've already created in the wizard. In the event you are required to populate a VAT report, under your Reports menu, we have the VAT report. Simply select the correct filters and choose to view your report. When viewing your report, remember to scroll to the bottom of your report in order to have the summary that you may require. Remember, our reports do offer drill downs, and the VAT report can be viewed at any time. Moving back to the VAT returns and reports screen, if I were in a scenario where I've closed off my January VAT and I now receive an out-of-period invoice simply because I'm within my February VAT return period, I will not reopen my VAT periods in order for me to add this transaction. I will simply capture my January invoice in my open VAT period being February as of the correct January date. Sage 1 will automatically record that invoice to the January profit and loss simply because you added a January date, but include that invoice in the February VAT submission as it was included in that particular VAT return. Always choose to reopen VAT periods for the correct reasons. In the event the following menu is not available to you, the reopen option may be grayed out. Grant yourself permissions in order to access the reopen option. You would grant yourself permissions by selecting the Administration menu, Control User Access. Alongside your permissions, select the Permissions option, and in the User Permissions screen, expand the VAT menu. Scroll down and expand the VAT Returns and Reports menu. After scrolling down for the second time, simply grant yourself access to reopening VAT periods. In the event you wish to start over, you can start over by first of all granting yourself permissions to start again. Once you've saved your changes, you'll notice when returning to the VAT screen, your Start Over option as well as your Reopen option will then be available to you. You may be required to start over simply because your VAT periods have been incorrectly set up. You can easily do so by first of all, under Administration, Control User Access, granting yourself permissions in the event the Start Over menu is grayed out. Thereafter, Step 2, select the Start Over menu. You will be prompted to confirm that you are about to clear and reset up your VAT periods, and all the VAT returns captured in Sage 1 will be removed and you would need to reset up your VAT. Please remember, when using the following option, no processing such as invoices or journal entries or even cash book entries will be wiped out. Everything will remain as is. It's simply your VAT periods that will be removed, allowing you to reset up VAT correctly. Once you've selected Yes, you will then return to the Setup screen. It is within the Setup screen that you can then correctly set up your VAT. Simply select the last VAT period and date. Select the submission date. In my example, I'm going to be reporting January and February, 2 reports in March. My VAT reporting frequency would be 2. And once I've completed, simply select the Finish option and I will then be returned to the VAT return and report screen. There are two ways of capturing a VAT payment or refund. The first way is under the Transaction, VAT Payments and Refunds. Alternatively, under your banking screen, Transactions, Banking. Select the correct bank account. Under your type, you would select your VAT as a type. Your selection will automatically come up with a VAT payment or refund. If money was spent, Sage 1 will capture it as a VAT payment. If money was received, Sage 1 will then capture it as a VAT refund. Once again, remember to save your changes. The next topic I will be discussing is with regards to budgets. We locate the budget menu under the company menu, Budgets, Add a Budget. A budget is a measurable expression of a plan for a defined period of time. It may include planned sales, volumes, and revenues. It could even include costs and expenses, assets, liabilities, and cash flow. It states a strategic plan of business units, organizations, or activities. You can create as many budgets as you wish to in Sage 1. Just ensure that your budget names are unique. You have the choice to create your budget for this year or next year. And you have the choice to base your budget based on historical data or manually. When creating your budget based on historical data, on selection of Next, remember you would be required to have historical data available in order to use historical data to base this budget against. In the following window, you have the option to use historical data, either using last year or this year values, and you have the choice to use last year actuals and adjust them. In the event I had selected this year, I would then have this year actuals and adjusting them. I would prefer to use last year in my example, and I would like to then use last year actuals and adjust them. I'm going to be saying, in the event I had 200,000 Rand worth of sales for January 2015, I would like to carry across that value. However, I would like to increase it by 10% and thereafter create my budget. Alternatively, if I was satisfied with my last year actuals and I wish to just round them off and copy them forward, I would select the second option, saying use last year actuals and round them off. If in the event this is the first time you are ever creating a budget in Sage 1 and you do not have any historical data, you would need to create your budget manually. When selecting Create your budget manually, select the Create Budget option. You'll notice on the following spreadsheet, as I select my cells, I have a green double arrow as well as a blue double arrow. Let's add some figures within this budget. You'll notice as I move along to different cells, the green double arrow follows through along with me, whereas the blue double arrow always remains at the top. The green double arrow allows me to copy budget values for that specific account. I can either copy the same budget value across, alternatively, I can copy the budget value and increase it or decrease it by a certain increment and percentage. And when selecting Copy Now, Sage 1 will then copy the values for that particular account and adjust it as I have requested. If I wish to adjust all my accounts, I can select the blue double arrow to not just adjust them but copy them across as well. Once again, I can copy the same budget values across. Alternatively, I can increase them or decrease them by a certain increment and percentage. And when selecting Copy Now, Sage 1 will automatically copy these budget values across. I can save my budget by scrolling down to the bottom of my screen once I have created my budget. In the event I wish to reassess this budget, simply because I've had a greater increase than I had ever expected, I can always return to a previously created budget and reassess it moving forward. So in the event I need to return to this budget and perhaps from September I need to reassess it, I can simply select on that particular month, and once again I do have my copying tools available. If I wish to view a budget report, simply select the Budget Report option. When viewing the reports, you'll notice that our reports in Sage 1 are exportable to PDF, Excel, CSV, printed directly, or even emailed. In the event I wish to display this budget report in Excel, I simply select the Excel option. And just to give you an idea of what the budget report looks like in Excel, in the following window, the following budget report can be used in order to create graphs or charts. If I wished to view my business performance against a budget, I can do so using my profit and loss report. I locate my profit and loss report under the Reports menu, Financial Statements. I then have the Profit and Loss option. In the following screen, from the drop-down box, select the correct filters that you wish to populate on your report. I wish to compare my profit and loss to a budget. I even have the choice to choose exactly which budget I would like to compare it to. Display the Budget Variances option in order for you to have actuals, budget values, as well as budget variances. And when viewing the report, we would then have three separate columns, first with the actuals and thereafter with the budget and budget variances. If you wish to compare your actuals to another budget, There's no need for you to exit or return to the Reports menu. Simply select the Show Report options, change the budget that you wish to compare it to, and refresh. And the new comparison will automatically then be populated. Under your company menu, Budgets, we have the list of budgets. These budgets can at any time be selected and deleted. Alternatively, if you wish to edit a budget, simply select the budget and thereafter you can easily edit from a particular month forward. Let's move on to some other basic reports. Under your Reports menu, Financial Statements, moving back to your Profit and Loss report. You'll notice that your Profit and Loss report, after choosing a year, alternatively a custom date option, so Sage 1 does cater for you choosing a custom date against some of our reports, you can populate the report grouped by month, quarter, or year. If I wish to populate my report based on quarterly, I simply select quarter, and when viewing my report, my profit and loss will then be broken down into my 4 separate quarters. If I wish to view my profit and loss monthly, I simply select my Show Report options, change my filter to month, and once I've refreshed it, I will then have my profit and loss based per month. If you wish to view gross profit reporting, under your reporting menu and your items report, we have the sales by item report. Once again, please ensure that the correct filters are chosen in order for you to have the correct report populating. When viewing the following report, you'll notice that I've got a breakdown of my quantity, cost, selling, as well as GP amount and percentage. So the sales per item report would be the report that you would use if you wish to view gross profit margins. Under your Reports menu, Financial Statements, we have the balance sheet as well as the trial balance. When populating the trial balance, simply select the date range and thereafter view your report. You'll notice that your trial balance can be compared to last year. In the event that you wish to compare your trial balance to last year, simply check the box that says Compare with last year. After I've refreshed it, my report will then display this year as well as last year figures. There are a variety of reports that can be found under the Reports menu. Please ensure that you explore most of these reports. In the event that you require to customize reports using Excel, simply select the Sage 1 Intelligence Reporting. When selecting the Sage 1 Intelligence Reporting, log on using the same credentials that you would use to log into Sage 1 Accounting. And once you've logged into Sage 1 Intelligence Go, you are then allowed to use Excel and create as well as run reports that are already created using Excel, linking to Sage 1. If you require more information with regards to the Sage 1 Accounting Intelligence Go, on your home screen, simply select the Add-ons option scroll down to Business Reporting, and we have the Sage 1 Accounting Intelligence Go getting started. The next topic I'm going to be covering is with regards to users and permissions. If your client wishes to send you a note using Sage 1, he can do so by selecting the Accountants area menu, Send a Note to My Accountant. In the event your client wishes to invite you as his accountant, under the Accountants area menu, select Invite My Accountant. When selecting the Add Accountant option, your client would need to invite you using the email address of the administrator to your Accountants Edition. So all your clients are always invited with one email, immaterial of who at your firm is working on his company. Clients always invite you as the accountant with one email address, being the administrator to the Sage 1 Accountants Edition. Once the email address is added in the following text box and the Save option is chosen, a link is sent out to you as the accountant, and on activation of that link, this client's company will automatically appear on your Accountants Edition. Let's now move on to the Sage 1 Accountants Edition. I'm going to begin by logging into my Sage 1 Accountants Edition. The Accountants Edition is exclusively available to Sage 1 advisors. It also unlocks additional functionality to address operational challenges in running your accounting practice. On the top left-hand corner, the package will illustrate Sage 1 Accountants Edition. I'm going to get started with the Accountants Dashboard. So once you have logged into any of the companies that you have either been invited to or added within your Accountants Edition profile, you will access the Accountants Dashboard. This dashboard gives you an overview of the client's company information, banks and credit cards, any tasks or notes that are due with regards to this particular client, as well as an overview of his profit and loss. The company name that's illustrated on the top right-hand corner would be the company that you are logged into. In my example, the training company is a client. If I wish to navigate to a different client's company, under the company menu, we have the company console. The company console has been designed to help you get the most out of your day. The company console will list all your client companies, and next to each company, links and click-throughs will provide you with quick access to information. These companies will either be companies that you have created under your own profile or companies of clients that you have been invited to. Some of the information is populated automatically by Sage 1, such as the last login, the financial year end, the next VAT submission, as well as the last transacted date. Other information, such as tasks, notes, would be generated by you within the to-do list. If I wish to navigate to a different client's company, alternatively, I have chosen Sage 1 for my practice management of accounts. I can easily select the company or the client's company that I wish to log into, and I would then be automatically taken to that particular client's company. The dashboard that I have appearing now is with regards to my multi-currencies company and a reflection of that particular company. Moving back to the company menu and my company console. In addition to giving you an easy way to access your clients' books in Sage 1, the Company Console has also been designed to give you, the accountant, a quick overview of what needs to focus within your practice. So you can start by identifying your accounting practice company, and this refers to your own Sage 1 company which you use for your practice. So start by identifying the company, and in my example, TES Accounting is my practice management account. I simply select the white area alongside the company name, and under the Company Details option, select the Set as Account Practice Accounts. Once I've checked the box, you'll notice that you are then going to have the option to link each company in your Company Console to a customer in your accounting practice accounts. Once you've saved your changes, you'll notice that TES Accounting will always appear at the top of my screen simply because that is my accounting practice company. The rest of my clients will always be beneath it, and my practice accounts will always remain in grey. I do not necessarily have to be logged into a client's company to view information. So for example, I'm currently logged into my multi-currency client. If I wish to view some information with regards to Uyama trading, I simply select the white area alongside that particular client, and I then have a breakdown of all their tasks, notes, alerts and reviews, last transacted, time entries if I were to be using our time tracking module in Sage 1, and the company details. I am allowed to link this customer to my practice accounts in the following link, and if I wished to set any of my clients as inactive, perhaps he no longer is in business, I can just deselect the following checkbox, and once I've closed my window, any inactive clients will be removed from my active client screen. If I wish to view just inactive clients, under the View option, select Inactive Clients, and my clients will then appear. Remember, these are inactive clients. In the event you wish to mark an inactive client as an active client, simply select alongside the client's details. Under Company Details, set this client as an active client, and once you've closed your screen, move back to View Active Clients, and the client will then appear on your active client's screen. All our column headers in Sage 1 does allow you to be sorted. I can either sort A to Z or Z to A. If I wish to sort my clients based on tasks, I simply select the Tasks column. Notes, simply select the Notes option. And if I wish to view the last transacted date, I easily select the last transacted date, bringing up the most recent or the most prior. I can search for companies in the Search option. And if I wish to set up tasks or notes, simply select the To Do option. In the To Do option, I have my tasks, notes, alerts, as well as a calendar. When setting up a task, I simply select the Add Task option. I can set up one task for many different client companies by easily selecting them. Let's say, for example, I am setting up a task with regards to VAT submissions, and I would like to set up this task for my multi-currency client as well as Leco Trading. I have the choice to notify myself via email, as well as how many days before the start of this task. I then have a start date, due date, and the status to which this task needs to reflect. Under the Recurrence option, I am allowed to set up this task to reoccur. So for example, I would like to set up this VAT submission being bi-monthly. I easily select the monthly option and choose to populate this task every 2 months. I then set up an end date after a certain amount of occurrences, alternatively to end by a selected date. Once you've saved your changes, you would then have created a task. Your tasks, once set up, as well as your notes, do populate against your calendar in Sage 1. Looking at the following calendar, on selection of any of my overdue tasks, I will then be taken to the tasks that are overdue by a certain amount of days. Perhaps I've completed these tasks already. I simply select the tasks and change the status to complete. And once I've saved my changes, they will then be removed from my overdue tasks as well as my calendar. Under your Notes option, you can set up a note by adding a note. You do not necessarily have to be logged into that particular client's company. You can be logged into any client's company. Alternatively, just select the client that you wish to add a note for. The type of note, be it a meeting, note, or reminder, a due date as to when it needs to populate a reminder in Sage 1, as well as the actual note. Once you've saved your changes, you would then have populated a note that once again does reflect against your calendar in Sage 1. You can select the area against your calendar and a breakdown will be given to what the notes were about. Your alerts in Sage 1 Accountants Edition are system-generated alerts. These alerts will pop up in the event that you have reached a VAT submission for a client's company. Alternatively, in the event that your client hasn't paid for his subscription, Sage 1 will pop up an alert. Lastly, the calendar that reflects your tasks and your notes. It also gives you a good breakdown as to what's expected of you. Moving to the My Clients option, you'll notice that under the Last Transacted option, you are allowed to view a list of the last transactions being 10, 20 or 30 transactions that have been processed under a particular company's details. So for example, if I wish to view, I can simply select the date and view the last 10, 20 or 30 transactions that were processed to that particular client's company, alternatively, even within your firm. So the last transacted date, by selecting the date, does give you a breakdown of exactly what it was that was transacted to that particular company. Let's now move on to the Accountants Edition users. We locate the Accountants Edition users under the Administration menu, Accountants Edition users. As a Sage 1 advisor, you are able to create unlimited Accountants Edition users to allow you to provide each of your partners, managers, and clerks with their own login details. Once the user has been created, by selecting the Add Accountants Edition user, adding a first name, last name, a unique email address, and once you've saved your changes, a link is then sent out to that particular Accountants Edition user. On activation of that link, the user then has access to your Accountants Edition. You can also set permissions per company per user, and then that particular user would only be allowed access to the clients that you've granted them access to with those permissions. In order for you to grant access to certain clients, under the Actions option alongside the user's name, simply select Assign Clients. For the first time, your window will appear as follows, as the following user has no assigned clients. You would simply need to drag and drop the client's companies that you wish to allow this particular user access to. You would then select the Permissions option. When selecting the Permissions option, this would mean that you are granting this particular user certain permissions in that particular company. So for example, user Junaid is being or denied permissions in my TARES accounting company. Once you've saved your changes, when that particular Accountants Edition user accesses TARES Accounting, they will not have any access to the menus that I have denied their permission. So under Administration, Accountants Edition users are uniquely available to Sage 1 advisors. The last unique option available in the Sage 1 Accountants Edition is under the Accountants area. We have Stakeholders and Share Capital. Now remember, with regards to stakeholders and share capital will only appear if the company has been added as the correct entity type, alternatively the appropriate entity type. So if, in my example, TARES Accounting was added as a company, I would then be able to locate stakeholders and share capital. But in the event that the company you are logged into perhaps was added as a sole proprietor, the following options will not be available. With regards to stakeholders and share capital, you are allowed to add stakeholders. You can even add company roles by selecting the Add Company Roles, alternatively making use of the company roles that we have available. Thereafter, we've got some reports that you can view based on the stakeholders option. With regards to share capital, we do offer authorized share capital as well as a share register. If the following options are not appearing against a client's company, you would need to change the entity type to be the suitable entity type in the company settings under Additional Company Settings, Entity Type. Just a basic overview with regards to the Sage 1 Accountants Edition. Under the Home menu, we have the Accountants Dashboard. Under the Accountants Area menu, we have Stakeholders and Share Capital, depending on the entity type of the company that you are logged into. And lastly, we have under the Company menu, the Company Console that easily allows you to be able to navigate between different client companies, alternatively set a particular company as your practice accounts. And we have the To-Do option that allows you to set up tasks as well as notes and to be able to view your alerts as well as your calendar. Let's now move on to our final topic for today, and that is with regards to account reporting groups. You will use account reporting groups to view either a summary of grouped accounts or the individual accounts making up a group total on your financial statements. You locate account reporting groups under the Accounts menu, Account Reporting Groups. You would need to ensure that every single general ledger account that you wish to report on individually has been created individually. Thereafter, if you wish to group accounts, so for example, I have created my telephone account separately and my internet account separately. I simply select the telephone account, select the internet account, and say Group Accounts. I'm going to be grouping telephone and internet. And once I've saved my changes, I would then have created a main account with sub-accounts. Account reporting groups do allow for editing as well as deleting, simply because I am not editing or deleting a main account, I am simply editing or deleting a group. So in the event I wish to delete this group, I can simply select the delete option and I would then have deleted the group. If I wish to create an account reporting group, I simply select the accounts, choose the Group Accounts option, and I would then have created a group. Please remember to save your changes at the bottom of your screen. You do have the choice when populating a report as to whether to generate the report with groups in detail, alternatively to have it as a group on your report. Under your Reports menu and Financial Statements, you'll notice when populating any of the reports, you have the choice to report groups in detail by leaving the following box checked, and in that way, telephone will appear as a separate account and internet will appear as a separate account. But if I wish to view all my GL accounts in the groups that I've created, I simply deselect the following checkbox and I would then have a report based with my groups that has been captured in my reporting groups screen. We have reached the end of the session, and I do hope that it was valuable as well as time well spent. On completion and understanding of all the sections in the pre-assessment session 1 as well as session 2, you are now ready to complete your assessment successfully. Good luck, and I look forward to having you becoming a certified Sage 1 advisor.